So it came to my attention that an artist that I follow on DeviantArt, which is a site for art of all sorts. It ranges from amateurs to all the way to professionals when it comes to web design and all that, to just amateur artists or people that draw fan art or people that actually do commissioned work, which I commissioned many artists. But the thing is, what's irritating is that I just read a blog post by an artist that should of all people understand why it's necessary to defend artistic expression. He actually has come right out in opposition to artistic expression. He's come right out and said that this game Hatred, which is this top-down shooter, mass murder shooter game, he's come out against it. And it seems to me that this is right on the heels of general opposition to this game specifically. And what's terrible about this is if you're any given person, or any given gamer, or any just social justice warrior, it doesn't matter to me what your opinion is. But the fact that Chuck here is a fucking artist, when he should be the first person defending this game, and he's actually coming out against it and making the case for why this should be banned based on the most ludicrous and debunked proposition. I just have to cover this. I have to make a video about this, and I'm going to see if I can find his Twitter and send this to him so that I hope he understands how wrong he is about this. You could just choose not to buy this game, but instead you're making the position that we need to censor this game or remove it from Steam so that it cannot be bought. That it needs to be reduced to some unknown website where you have to go through 5 fucking age gate screens to get to. That's the argument that you're making in this. When, again, the people that are arguing in favor of this game being banned are the same people that will look at your artwork, man, and say that you are objectifying women, that your art is in some way influencing society. The same thing that they would say about this game, that you're making the case for this game, they could say the exact same thing about your art, because it's based on the same idea that art influences society rather than society influences art. You're making the case that your art influences society and that we need to draw a line. There needs to be boundaries within art. That's your argument. And it affects your work all the same. I can make the argument using your same logic about how your art is helping commodify women in society. You should be one of the first fucking people defending the artistic expression of the developers that created the game Hatred. And the fact that you are totally ignorant to the principle of this, I'm going to send you this video. I'm going to try to see if you can get your hands on this video and watch it. Not because I'm angry at you or I disagree with you based on your opinion. I'm trying to say to you, man, you do not understand that you are laying a minefield for yourself, perpetuating an argument based on bad thinking that can ultimately hurt you all the same. So I want to get to your blog post, and I'll try to get through it quickly, and I don't want to make this a 40-minute thing. But I think you need to understand, point by point, where you're wrong on this. Remember that dumb game for psychos that was announced a while ago? I do. It's a game where you play as a guy the Columbine kids probably had sketched in their binders while they're being called names everyone gets called in high school, but never thought to use an excuse to do murders. Imagine Nathan Explosion and replace the character's kooky irony and self-awareness with a dumb, stupid caveman hate for everything alive. Anything alive. Remember the 90s and into the aughts where violent video games opposition coined the term murder simulator? This is that game. It literally claims to simulate murder. Okay, so here's the first issue that I have with what you've written. A murder simulator is something that was said during the 90s to justify opposition to video games, to justify censorship of video games, the state intervening to censor video games that they claimed that they had the standard for as being murder simulators, including GTA. Jack Thompson made the case that GTA, Grand Theft Auto, was the poster child for murder simulators. So when you go on to talk about GTAs, that having some sort of justified existence, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Because the coining of the term murder simulator was in reference to GTA. On top of that, the idea of a murder simulator was debunked. This notion that the game influences a person was proven wrong. Study after study after study proved that this was not correct. There was no correlation between the person's activity in a game and then what their activity was in real life. There was no correlation. And there was actually studies proving the exact opposite. One of the most important ones coming from Buffalo saying that games actually helped people empathize with one another rather than, hate each other or be more nihilistic or whatever that you're claiming here or whatever that you're trying to co-opt to somehow make an argument on. It's nothing but a platitude. The premise is simple. Jason Voorhees comes home from a long day in the Matrix, and instead of watching Chris Knows Best, he decides to load up his shotgun, put on his blackest trench coat, and isometrically, Diablo-style, murder everyone outside who isn't him until cops take him out, or he turns the gun on himself. So naturally, it's rated E for everyone. The only good thing about the game was that it was shot down pretty quickly. If there was a game that was commissioned that used sexual content or sexual work that you had been responsible for drawing, would you be okay with that being censored? Arbitrarily. There's no reason for it to be censored. You actually haven't made a point of why this should be censored or why it's justified to be censored. You just think that it's okay. But I turn this right back at you. Would you want this to happen to the work that you were commissioned for? If you had worked for a company that invested time and money in putting a product out there, would you think it's fine that you had your work censored? That game, that the person that you had worked for, the project that you had worked on, had been censored arbitrarily until it came back on Steam. It seemed some other psychos who had made the game did some grassroots. I just imagine people who haven't bathed complaining on their own and got involved in Murderpalooza back on the only platform that would give it a shot at making any money. Yes, and they were very justified in doing so because they wanted to purchase the game. Or they were like me and were principled, that actually understand that censoring art is wrong. And if, again, you of all people, you're an artist, what is wrong with you? You don't understand the importance of not censoring art? You think that you should live in a country or in a society that you have some sort of commission, some sort of committee that decides what is and what isn't art and what should be or what shouldn't be censored because it may offend someone's personal morality or someone's personal feelings on the matter. They find it to be degenerate art. I mean, should we hire you, Chuck? Should you decide what is and what isn't degenerate art? And we'll skip the next line. To read a much better and more thoughtful reaction to the questions, please turn your attention to the following link. And it's an article on The Escapist. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I understand this argument, but it doesn't matter. It could be for catharsis. It could be for fun. You don't have to justify your reasons for playing a game. That is a ridiculous proposition. If I want to buy a game, I want to buy it because I want to buy it. There should be no other reason for it. You could buy a game for no other reason than the inexplicable. You just do it. You have the money, so you buy it. It's on sale, and you want to get a game, so you buy it with no other information. A game doesn't need a designated purpose to exist. It can just exist. If there's a demand, especially in the market for it, which with this game you've already admitted to by saying that people brought it back, there is a demand for it. There needs to be no other reason to exist in a market. And again, as an artist, I don't understand how you don't understand this. This is a totally unbelievably simple thing to understand, and the fact that you don't, and not only that you don't, but you're in the exact opposite camp, is amazing to me. The basic answer to me is context. The people who populate GTA are the worst people ever. Celebrity, blah, 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 your opinion. Your opinion on the people in GTA. Your opinion. Okay, so realizing those innocent people are just asking to be murdered isn't the best argument when it comes to Hansel. Just jump ship and take shelter on the island of, you have a choice in GTA. No, you fucking don't. You don't have a choice to not murder people. It's not like Deuce's X where you actually have an option to be a pacifist or what the fuck ever, except for in certain instances. You have to kill people in GTA. You kill tons of people in GTA. Of all stripes. Do you think that every person you kill in GTA is an innocent person? Do you think every cop that dies in GTA deserves to die? That all of them are corrupt, all of them are bad, all of them are deserving of death? Messing with people in GTA is just something you do when you first load the game up or your brother-in-law is over your house or bored. It's not the point of the game at all. There is no point to games. As a matter of fact, you can get through the game pretty easily without dying, doing that much harm to bystanders. That's a lie. You think if you fire a rocket launcher, that's not going to kill innocent bystanders? This is a ridiculous fucking argument. And in which case, even if you don't realize that you're playing villains in the game, that every single person you play is a violent psychopathic criminal, even on your own logic, this doesn't stand up, man. And just so we're clear, I'm not saying that GTA is a paragon of creative ethics in the industry at all, especially when the last one you had doing more questionable crap than the other installments. So what? I don't understand what you are proposing here, because The fact is that, yeah, you may have been doing worse things in GTA 5 than in the previous GTAs, but so what? So what? You don't think that certain things should be covered in games? Make a list, and why? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list about why all your different art pieces, why they should be banned, why certain things commodify women, why certain things denigrate women, why your art is degenerate art, and so we should censor your art. No one should commission you. No one should look at your artwork. We should take your artwork down from DeviantArt because it's degenerate art. How do you not understand this? How do you not understand that there's no reason for games? What is the point of Tetris? What is the point of just random phone games? What's the point of Telltale games? You can't read a narrative in a book or watch it on a movie. What's the point of Telltale games? What's the point of walking simulator games that I own, like Heavy Rain? What's the point of those games? You can't just watch a movie? You can't just watch an animation for that? What's the point of anything? What's the point of any artwork? What's the point? Unless it has a purpose I agree with or can understand or relate to, it shouldn't exist. That's what you're arguing for here. This should be removed because I don't understand it. And you're an artist. You're an artist making this argument. Do you not understand how fucking dumb that is? How fucking dumb you sound saying it? And this is from a person that follows your work. I follow your work on DeviantArt. I like your work. I like it a lot. I think it's well done. That's why I follow you in lieu of all the other artists. I follow you because I think your work is well done. But you sound like a total fucking tool in this blog post. What I'm saying is that it has a decidedly different tone than something like hatred. Hatred is only about murder. You can't get a call from your cousin Roman and meet up for some bowling. It's murder, murder all day, murder every day, and the stupidest part is that it's totally pointless murder. The people you killed don't know you, and they don't know them. Nothing has happened to the main character and hasn't wronged in any way. He is just apparently woke up one day and decided to put on his trench coat and decided to kill as many people as possible before he kills. Blah, 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 blah. So what? How many games, how many movies, how many different pieces of media have ever existed that have not had a fleshed out plot, that have left things unsaid? How many great works of literature have contradicted themselves, or have not have parts that have made sense, or have just left out details that could otherwise be talked about? Not everyone needs fucking exposition on why they're doing something. If every character and every plot required some level of standard of exposition, there would be no books, there would be no movies, there would be no games, because they'd be fucking thousands of hours long if you had to actually give exposition to every single character, even the protagonist. Even support characters, you don't need to give them exposition. If it fits in within the story well, if the writer believes that character should have exposition, it's up to the fucking writer. If you believe that hatred should have some level of exposition, write the fucking game. Go write for it. Go write your own fucking game. But you're not saying that. You're saying this doesn't meet my standard, so get rid of it. That's what you're calling on. And again, you're an artist. My biggest problem with this is after the events of Gamergate, blah, 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 the event seems to be breaking its arm, jerking itself off to the fact that there's been actual discussion about that's not the correct spelling of whether this game deserves to be around or not, rather than mindless crap throwing and knee-jerking reactions. You're the one having a reaction to this, brother. I'm not going to buy the fucking game. I don't want to buy the game. It doesn't interest me. There are plenty of other games that do interest me. I'm just going to not buy the fucking game. You're saying it shouldn't be on the shelves. You are so wrong on this. Just don't buy it. Don't buy the fucking game. Why do you have to demand that it gets taken off the shelves? Why do you celebrate the fact that it was censored? The game is the exact type of game that doesn't need to be made.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
Your art is the exact type of art that doesn't need to be made. It's degenerate art. Your art is commodifying women. All this does is act as a lightning rod for all the batshits, legitimized claims that gamers aren't exactly what the press said they are back in the 90s, and scratches an itch for weeders that, let's face it, probably shouldn't be scratched. Do you need to look at the crime statistics? Should I even bother posting them? Should I even bother posting them? Should I even bother giving you any more time than I already am? And I don't mean to put this in such a pejorative, insulting way, but what you are writing here is so on its face stupid. I'm really at a loss for words because of how absolutely dumb that this is, that you don't understand this. If there's a game called Child Toucher Simulator 2015 and that game is about touching kids, the games would be destroyed and no one would think twice. False! There are plenty of Japanese games that are hentai games that you can essentially fuck underage kids. Fuck underage women especially. You aren't banning those either. And what's funny is that they're out of your power. Even if your whole camp, your side, wants to ban them, they're in Japan and you have no say. You can't ban them. And they're going to be imported to the United States no matter what you do. So you can't actually censor those games. The games that most social justice warriors and feminists will lose their shit over, you can't even fucking touch because they're overseas. And they're being made in a country where creative freedom is the norm. Unlike here, where Puritanism is the norm. And an artist is talking about what art should be censored. Okay, true time. I like video games. I like violent video games. Bloodborne is a game you literally get covered in blood of your enemies from hacking them up to death. Another game that I have no interest in buying and never played. I effing love Bloodborne. Good for you. I think it's actually degenerate art. I think we should ban Bloodborne. I'm not really into that whole gothic thing. I think that that's degenerate, and I think that it influences society negatively. I think that people that play Bloodborne may actually turn around and murder people. Or that it might make games look bad, by your argument anyways. I think that Bloodborne makes games look bad, so that it should be taken off the shelves. I think it should be taken off of Steam, and I'm going to start up a petition to do it. I think that that art should be censored, because it makes gamers look bad. And we need to keep this medium open for good games, unlike Bloodborne, which is a degenerate piece of shit. We need to take that game down. We've gone through the head-to-head with Jack Thompsons of the world and essentially won. You don't understand this. You're a Jack Thompson of the world. You are a Jack Thompson of the world. You're just arguing from another perspective. It's the same principle. It's just another argument. In my opinion, the world has essentially told us, okay, you want violent video games, you got them, and we do. And they're not policing us for the most part. You're wrong. We don't need to police ourselves. We don't. We don't. And your final line, why risk all that for a crap game like this? Your art is shit. Your art is shit. Your art is degenerate art. Bloodborne is degenerate. I think it should all be banned. I think it should all be censored. Do you agree? Do you agree that we need to censor all of your art? We need to take down all of your art. Why should we have this shit artist on DeviantArt? He's obviously degenerate. He's committing a deviant act by having this degenerate art perpetuated online. We can't have this. We can't have this on DeviantArt. A host like DeviantArt can't have this art. A platform like Steam can't have a game like Bloodborne. That is degenerate art, and it makes gamers look bad, so we should take down that art. Read into this a little bit more, and consider the fact that you wouldn't like this if you were on the end of it. You wouldn't like this if it was your art being banned. You'd be losing your shit and screaming about free expression. But the fact is that you are either too young or too stupid to understand the principle of free expression. And my suggestion to you is to get your shit together, get your head out of your fucking ass, and realize why this is important. And for no other reason than self-perseverance. You are one of the people that could lose in this. You don't seem to understand it, but you are on the chopping block in the same way that hatred is. You're just too apparently stupid to realize